This is WCM's Park Update, a weekly show covering the outdoor hospitality industry, hosted by Ben Quiggle and Mike Gast. During each episode, you'll hear from special guests and campground experts on topics that will help your park flourish. WCM's Park Update is a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine.
Hi, I'm Ben Quiggle, editor of Woodall's Campground Magazine, and this is another edition of WCM's Park Update, which is sponsored by Campgrounds of America. And my guests today are probably pretty familiar to a lot of people in the industry. David Bassler and Riley, both from OHI. I guess just kind of give a little bit of your titles and how long you've been at OHI, I guess.
Riley, go for it.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Riley Wilson. I'm our Director of Marketing here at OHI. And so my 3-year anniversary will be at OHCE. So if anyone wants to wish me a happy anniversary at OHCE, happy to celebrate with you.
Yeah. And David, you're the Chief Strategy Officer, correct?
Right, I am. Riley actually started at her first OHCE. She worked, and she wasn't even an employee of OHI yet, or at Arvik at the time. Yet she came and worked with us and hadn't even started yet. It was pretty cool. David Bassler, Chief Strategy Officer with OHI, and I've been with the organization for 6.5 years.
Wow, 6.5. I mean, the time flies, I guess.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. So, I'm excited. Obviously we brought you on the show to talk about the Outdoor Hospitality Conference and Expo, which is coming up. I remember the last one that was in Oklahoma City. That was in 2019, correct?
Or 2018. 2018.
Yeah, and it was a great destination. I've never had been to Oklahoma City before then, and I didn't know what to expect. And it was great to have like a little riverfront. Where you're hosting it this year, though, is a different conference center? Is it an updated or a new conference center? I guess what's the difference? Yeah,
a lot of people thought that same thing that you just said.
Okay.
Ben, that when they came to Oklahoma City back in 2018, a lot of the feedback we got was, "Wow, I didn't expect this to be such a cool town."
Yeah,
it really is a cool town. It's a very walkable city. The area that you're talking about is called Bricktown. It's over where their AAA ball team baseball stadium is. Lots of bars and restaurants, and there's a river walk similar to San Antonio over there, and it's walkable to the convention center and hotel over to that area. But the convention center that we were at in 2018 is, I believe, now an indoor movie studio, if memory serves. It became that during COVID, and since then they have built a brand new convention center. It just opened a couple of years ago, and adjacent to it is a brand new Omni hotel, and we have both of those for our events. And we are the only event happening at the convention center, and the only event happening at the hotel. Unlike in the last couple of years where we've been in Kansas City and Orlando in bigger venues where we've been competing with other events, it'll be a much different experience for attendees this year, where we are the only event happening at the convention center. So much more intimate experience, but it's a very, very cool town.
Yeah, it is. It surprised me. That's the only time I've actually ever been to the state of Oklahoma. So, it's just not a state that I've been to very much. It looks like Mike Gass is trying to join us, but
I am.
I'm
here, but I can't get my camera on. But all sorts of technical issues out here today.
That's okay. It's, sometimes we need a break from your face, I guess, Mike. But anyways, David, I guess what are some of so you announced the keynote. Can you just tell us a little bit about the keynote speaker, I guess, that you guys are bringing in?
Yeah, his name is Vital Germain. He is a very awesome, charismatic speaker. He's going to be talking about bringing people together, fostering community, creating lasting connections, which really is the overall theme of the event. I mean, that's how we're bringing people together at OHCE, is those creating lasting connections and networking. Riley can talk a little bit more about it as well, but coming out of last year's OHCE, that was the number one piece of feedback that we got from attendees was, this networking that we got here was awesome. We want more. We want more of this opportunity to meet other people and create these lasting connections. So we took that feedback and are building off of it. And I think people are going to be really excited when they see if they haven't seen it already, seen the schedule, because it is just one networking event after another. If you come away from OHCE this year, Riley, I think you'll agree, right? If you come away from OHCE this year and you haven't met a bunch of people that you didn't know before, you didn't do it right.
Yeah, you might not have even showed up because we have so many.
So David, so I'm assuming, and I'm sorry for jumping in late here, but so you've got a lot of first timers this time around? You have a lot of first timers this time?
I don't know the answer to that question, Mike. We always have a good number of first timers. I don't know exact number of first timers, but for the first timers, we have the very first event right off the bat on Monday morning, though, we have a coffee conversation specifically for first timers to the conference. That was one of the things one of the pieces of feedback we had was, an opportunity for them to not only meet each other, but also meet some people who have been there multiple times, and have kind of a mentor, if you will, and an opportunity to meet each other over coffee in a casual setting and learn about, the conference and meet some people right off the bat. Those coffee conversations are something that we started digitally probably about a year ago now, I guess. And they have been uber popular. So much so that when we started them, we were doing them once a month, and now we're doing them twice a month. It's digitally an opportunity for people to just come together and talk about whatever. We don't even curate the topic. It's literally just people with their coffee mug early in the morning having conversation about whatever topic they want to talk about. And at conference in person each morning, they'll have that same opportunity, only in person. And we're going to supply the coffee and donuts, and the rest is up to them to have great networking opportunity.
Have you guys changed your educational opportunities a lot between conventions?
Year to year, you mean?
Yeah. Or just in between the time period? Do you have other offerings you're bringing up just during the off season?
Oh, in the off season. Well, in the off season, yeah. I mean, we bring up a lot of different education opportunities in the form of webinars and various digital opportunities, and we have national school, obviously, in the springtime. And at conference, we vary it up year to year based on the feedback that we got from the previous year, but also based on what are the hot topics that that we're seeing in the industry leading up to conference. What are the things that we're seeing people talk about most? A lot of them came from these coffee conversations that we were having with members.
Yeah, one of the things you guys have been doing a little bit more of recently, in the past couple of years at least, was these panels. And I know there's a couple panels on the agenda. I guess just explain a little bit about what some of these panels are going to be focusing on, and do they give people a chance in the audience to kind of take part too, I guess?
You want to take that one, Ron?
Sure. So we have of course, our opening keynotes, how we open the event, set the stage for everything. Then we have our first panel is your next best year panel. So the theme of our event has always been to continue to make our campground owners' lives better, make their parks better. It's always about being the best version of yourself that you can be. So this year we're going to take that first panel and make it a campground owners panel, essentially. We're going to have people that are from all walks of the campground owner life, small parks, big parks, new owners, legacy owners, as we like to call them, and have them on stage and talking about the things that they've done this year and that they have planned for the next year that are really going to elevate their campground for their customers. So that's our first lunch panel. And then, David, I'll let you take our second panel, which is our advocacy panel, right?
Yeah, the data panel is actually before that. But before we jump to that, one other thing I want to say about the next best year panel, to answer your question, Ben, is how the audience is going to be incorporated into that is really cool this year, I think. Between the keynote and the panel are Campfire Sessions, which are the what used to be called Cracker Barrels, the open conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So each of those groups that Riley just mentioned, there's a small park, medium park, large park, multi-park. All of those different groups are going to go into Campfire Sessions and have discussions around best practices and what their challenges are and what their next best year is going to look like. And then those representatives on the panel that were kind of leading those conversations are going to come up, and we're going to talk about what are the similarities between those different elements or the different parts of our community. Where are there overlaps? What are the best practices that we can share regardless of the demographic, right? Regardless of the size of your park or where your park is located. We all share similar challenges. We look at them differently. We might approach them differently. But the challenges are oftentimes very similar, and the way one park approaches something might be different than the way another park approaches it. But you might not think about how the approach might not work at your park, but if you think about it, the way that park has approached it could potentially work at your park. So the idea is to get some idea sharing going through those conversations that happen initially in those campfire sessions that then come over to that panel conversation. So there's opportunity for the attendees to get involved there. So then, like Riley said, the next day is the panels are all about our advocacy work that we're doing in Washington. There's obviously going to be a lot of focus on the big legislative issues that we're working on nationally, like the Credit Card Competition Act. There's going to be updates on things like the hottest topic of the day right now, the spectrum issue. There's a panel on the data and research that OHI puts out every year. We're going to be talking about the new data dig that we're working on with CampSpot. We're going to be talking about the Outlook report that we work on with New Book. We're going to be talking about the generational camping report. Those are the big three. And then all of those things are part of the package of almost 40 sessions that we have throughout the course of the 3-day conference.
Yeah, and you guys really put together a wide variety of different classes. I mean, all different kinds of topics. I think I went through the agenda, and I mean, there's everything I think you could think of, I guess. And I don't know, Riley, I guess, how do you put this stuff together? Is this based off of like what people say after each conference, I guess, is kind of the topics you build off of?
Yeah, a big part of it is after the conference we survey, we see what people wanted more of, what they didn't feel like they got that we can deliver on.
Yeah.
And another piece of it is just always listening throughout the year. Like David said, we're paying attention to the hot topics, what's going on in the industry, what's going on in other industries that needs to translate over to ours. AI is always a big hot topic for the past couple of years. We're going to have some great sessions on those, implementable strategies for AI. Always marketing. Marketing changes so quickly. So having some up-to-date marketing classes has always been a request, but we make sure to not just deliver the same old. We are transitioning that content every year to make sure it's meeting needs of our members and of the industry as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, and you guys always seem to get really great speakers too. I mean, experts in the field, industry people that are really invested in helping park owners grow their businesses. So that's really great. We're going to take a minute to recognize our sponsor, Campgrounds of America, and we will be right back. Campgrounds of America is the leading brand in camping, known for its 60-plus years of expertise and trusted quality. By joining the KOA family, franchisees benefit from the strong brand recognition, operational excellence, and a proven business model designed to foster growth and success. The flexible franchise options empower owners to achieve their goals while providing an exceptional camping experience for guests. To learn more about joining the KOA family of campgrounds, visit ownakoa.com. Hi, welcome back to WCM's Park Update, and we are chatting with Riley and David from OHI about the upcoming Outdoor Hospitality Conference and Expo in Oklahoma City at the beginning of November. And, before the break, we were talking a little bit about the agenda, the interesting classes, and the speakers and the sessions, all that kind of stuff. I guess, David, you had a little bit more to add on, how you guys kind of put that together.
Yeah, what I wanted to say there was it's one of the things that we got from last year as well was people wanted a more of a mix of the type of session. They wanted a mix of the kind of more quick hit session, 90-minute or 45-minute, type of session versus the longer workshop, more hands-on type sessions. And so we've got a good mix of sessions this year that I think people are going to enjoy. We've got a number of, I think it's 8 hands-on workshops on things from, team building to, QuickBooks and Google Analytics and operations and amenities and all sorts of great topics that people can really dig their hands into. NFPA, I think, is another one. NFPA 1194. So some really good workshop topics built in there too.
Yeah, I know going to conferences sometimes like 45 minutes is good, and then other times it seems like, boy, you wish you had a little bit more time. It depends on the topic. So that's it's good to be able to have that time for those topics that take a little bit more. So one of the other interesting things that sprung out at me when I was looking at the schedule of events was the Expo. I guess it looks like you guys are scheduled the Expo a little bit differently than maybe you normally do. I guess
we did. Like we actually doubled the Expo time.
Okay.
Again, based on feedback, we from both the exhibitors and the attendees, we want more Expo time so that we don't feel rushed through it. We had a really successful Expo last year. We had our campground owners bought more than $50 million worth of products and services at last year's Expo in a very small window of time. They wanted to do more at this year. So we had a goal of making it bigger and better. So rather than do education at the beginning and Expo at the end, like we've traditionally done, we set a schedule where attendees can do education and Expo at the same time. They can go back and forth between the two without having to worry about conflict, right? There's going to be things that happen simultaneously, but there's going to be things that happen, in duplication as well. They can go back and see things again. They can go plenty of time, obviously, on the Expo floor because we've doubled the amount of time. They won't have to feel rushed on the Expo floor either. There's fewer education rooms, so there's bigger room space, so you don't have to worry about running out of chairs in the session rooms. So people can have more flexibility that way. And so the education begins at the start of the conference, and so does the Expo on Monday. And hosted buyer is another thing that we're doing for the 5th year in a row. That's bigger and better this year as well. We always try to make our hosted buyers feel like VIPs, and that's happening again this year.
And for people who don't know, the hosted buyer program allows them to, like, first of all, they have to register to be a hosted buyer, and then there's vendors that register as well, and you kind of connect them, and there's the opportunity to attend the conference for free, I guess, by meeting so much, I guess. Correct?
That's exactly it. It's kind of like speed dating in a way, but you're coming to the show to meet exhibitors anyway, so why not come for free, right? Is how I always describe it to people.
Yeah.
If you are somebody who at your campground is a decision maker, somebody who has the ability to sign a contract, then you're eligible to be a hosted buyer, and you fill out an application so that you're pre-qualified as somebody who can sign a contract. And by agreeing to meet with a certain number of participating exhibitors, the number is 6, which you're going to probably do anyway, you get registration for free. And on top of that, you get access to the Expo at times when other people don't. You get registration ahead of everybody else when you get there. You get access to VIP receptions to have fun and food and drink that other people don't get to go to. So it's a true VIP experience when you're on site as well, not just it's not all about the meetings. It's about the experience of meeting people and networking and having the full true experience while you're there.
So David, during my time with KOA, nothing got the vendors more excited than knowing that the campground owners had had a big year and they were coming in flush with cash. So what are the members out there saying as far as the type of season they've had?
Well, anecdotally, we're hearing good things, that in general across the board, across the country, people are having good seasons. They're not necessarily COVID era seasons that we were seeing during the pandemic when everybody was going crazy for camping. It's probably a good way to describe it that I'm hearing is more pre-pandemic season. But again, anecdotally, we're hearing a lot of good stories, positive stories.
Has the rush,
but not up
the rush,
as much as we thought we might be, those kinds of things, but still
sure,
up, which is good.
Do you think the rush for expansions is cooled a bit?
In terms of expansion at existing campgrounds?
Yeah, at sites and just growth.
I don't know the exact answer to that because we haven't seen the data come back yet on our Outlook report. It's out in the field right now. We'll have more data when we get to a conference that specifically speaks to that. But anecdotally, I've seen a little bit of a cool down on it. When you look at the data that we have seen in terms of things like coming from the data dig and other places that are out there, other research that's out there, we've seen a little bit of a cool down in terms of expansion. But in terms of our own research, I don't have hard numbers for you until conference.
Okay.
Yeah. I get, it's interesting because I remember, 2020, people were talking about how, everything was going to go virtual on these conferences. I guess people love to connect, I guess. And I know OHCE's had some really great years the last couple of years. Do you anticipate that to continue?
I do. Yeah, we're on track to have another great year. It's funny. I chuckled when you said the virtual conference because as we were talking about hosted buyer, that I don't know if you remember, but that's when we went virtual during COVID. That's when hosted buyer started.
Yep. Yeah.
Because all of the virtual shows that everybody was having, the people just weren't making those connections, and so. Yeah. We innovated and brought hosted buyer, and to the mix, and that's what I think was the most successful thing that year for people, bringing people together. And then once we brought it out in person, it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew. So
yeah, I mean,
it's all about making connections at these shows. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, I think park owners work to connect with campers all year. It's a hospitality industry, and people just love the getting to meet people in person and talk. It's a little bit different than virtual, obviously. So
Yeah.
I guess what are the registration numbers looking like? You already mentioned that it looks like it's going to be another big year. I guess, is the Expo looking the same way on the Expo side?
Yeah, I mean, we're on pace both with registrations and with Expo to be where we were last year, or maybe even a little above. The Expo actually could be even bigger than it was last year because we had more space than we did last year.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, and it's amazing how many new companies are coming into the industry on all different levels. I mean, reservation system companies, septic system, the wastewater companies. I mean, there's just companies just flooding into the market trying to get into these RV parks and campgrounds. Have you noticed more new companies reaching out to you? I think I see a couple that are sponsors that I have never heard of. So
we have. We've had a number of them reach out to us. But we've obviously reached out to a number of new companies too. The ones that you mentioned are always prevalent, but some ones that we're excited about too are, we've got a lot of new companies this year at the Expo that are focused around the camp store and retail elements, laundry facilities that are always popular. Those types of things I think are going to be really popular with buyers this year.
Is that your headline, Ben, that wastewater companies are flooding the Expo?
Yeah.
Hopefully that won't be the case.
That's the headline. How do people? I imagine there's still time to register. How do people connect to learn more about OHCE, and how do they register?
So you can go to our website, ohi.org/OHCE. And if you go to any of our social channels, you're going to see it front and center because we're talking about it all the time. But on that webpage, you can register at the registration link. You can view the full schedule there. You can check out the sponsors. We're going to launch the list of all of the exhibitors soon so that you can get a look at who's going to be there, who you can talk with. There's plenty to do on that webpage as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. I am looking forward to going back to Oklahoma City just to see what's changed since it's been 6 years. So I guess what's changed in the last 6 years there. And it's always exciting getting to meet people that you talk with throughout the year that you only get to see once or twice a year. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Ben, were you in Orlando when we did the 80s party?
Yes.
Well, you're gonna love the closing celebration in Oklahoma City then, because we're doing a 70s disco party to close us out on Wednesday night in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, I saw that. That should be fun.
Bring your sequins and your platform shoes and all that stuff. I want to see your best outfit. I get you out on the dance floor. Do your John Travolta.
I wasn't alive in the 70s. I'm gonna have to call my dad and see what he wore. So
watch a couple of movies, man. Watch a couple of movies.
Watch a couple of movies. Okay.
I'll send you my yearbook.
There you go.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm gonna dress up like Mike Gass in the 70s. So
hey, I tell you, I was styling.
I was styling. Well, there you go, David. You got to convince Mike to come to the show now so you can see him in his 70s clothing.
Oh, come on, Mike. You're coming.
It's pretty much my everyday wardrobe. I'm semi-retired now, so I can wear whatever the heck I want.
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. We do have to get going, but thanks, David and Riley, for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
And I will be seeing you guys in Oklahoma City. So
look forward to seeing everybody there.
Can't wait to see you.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone, for watching, and we'll be back again next week.
Thank you for listening to WCM's Park Update, a production of Woodall's Campground Magazine. Join us for a new show each Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern on Facebook, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn for daily news and updates, and subscribe to our news feed on our website at woodallscm.com.